Everybody talks about consistency, but what are they talking about really? Huge shout out to Jimmy, our Michigan coordinator, who originally tried to share this post, but the file didn't come through. So here it is all cleaned up. When churches say they want a consistent worship leader or front of house engineer or musician, they're usually looking for somebody who owns that area of expertise, is onboarded with the church's culture, is generally reliable, and has a known skill level, heart, and coachability. It just kind of becomes one less thing they have to worry about from week to week. In short, consistency often means predictability and ownership. But what happens when you're in a season of searching and that consistent person isn't quite available? One helpful approach Jimmy suggested is creating clear expectations and standards for each department, even if you already have solid people in place. Definition creates stability. Some churches get stuck because they need somebody who could own that area, like leading worship, but maybe you only have strong musicians in your roster. Or they need a front of house engineer, but they only have volunteers who are skilled in lighting and video. Here's a tip we'd give you. If you have someone on your team who can administrate, coach, and lead others, consider elevating them to something like a music director who manages musicians and worship leaders with a rotation, or a tech director who can do the same for sound and cameras. This often requires moving from volunteer to part-time or part-time to full-time, but it can be a game changer, both for bridging the gap during a search or breathing new life into a creative department. Okay, so what should standards include? For musicians or worship leaders, consider defining arrival time, line check expectations, when rehearsal starts and ends, how prepared you want them to arrive, when service should start, the desired feel for service or engagement, what development resources you're going to provide, and what life on the worship team looks like off stage. And I'm talking about like discipleship, community, and lifestyle. For somebody like a front of house engineer, many of these same logics apply, plus something like decibel guidelines, lighting IEM expectations, gear standards, who to contact and what to do if repairs are needed, and when and how to get feedback. You might feel like this is a bit too structured. I'm building a church, not a business, but I've never, ever heard anyone complain about having clear direction. Unanswered questions create far more friction than thoughtful standards. Where do I find these people? Most of the time, churches don't have what they need simply because they aren't asking. Cast vision and ask often. You'll be surprised how many qualified people in your congregation step up when they know you have a need. Number 2, engage your local Facebook worship community. Post what you need. A lot of times people will pop up, but please note, you'll still need to do quite a bit of vetting. So have that on lock. And number 3, Worship Support Network is always here to help. With a couple of clicks, you can get coverage anytime you need for any position. Final thought here, expectations create consistency in team culture. And that might be the consistency many of us are really after. Is having a consistent core team a bad thing? No, not at all. Even better is building consistent rotations where volunteers can take healthy breaks and are valued for who they are, not just feeling like they're valued for what they bring. We hope this helps you build stronger culture, both on and off the stage. And we're Worship Support Network. Our app makes filling holes in your worship tech teams nice and easy.